What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to one of my favourite decks, and that is of course Scareclaw. Now Scareclaw have a very nice ability for going first or going second. Unfortunately in today's game, technically it's been power crept by Tenpai because everything this deck can do, Tenpai does a little bit better, a little bit more consistently, but it only goes down a synchro route. Whereas the benefit of something like the Scareclaws gives you that ability to go down a link route instead, while also getting you into one of your most powerful boss monsters in the form of the Scareclaw Tryhard, which is absolutely insane because it shifts everything to defense, and then it utilizes abilities given to it by our other Scareclaw monsters to either do piercing battle damage, attack multiple times, or get additional attack stat buffs. The idea is you can put multiple monsters or multiple Scareclaws to the zone that Tryhard points to, so it's kind of like a nice merge with like Tenpais and of course Crusaders from back in the day. Now this version does involve the Azaminas rather than the Adventure package, but if you don't want to be playing the Azaminas, you can very easily play the Adventure package as well. It's just a very straight swap for swap. With all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. I'm going to take you through the profile, show you what we've got, and explain why we've got it. So I've decided to make this build as a go first build, but it can have that ability to shift go second. If you wanted to make this deck a more focused go second build, that's when you could start utilizing stuff like the Floros card, because then that gives you the option of just going second outright, and then you play more board breakers. So for the Scareclaws, we are playing triple right card. So this is one of your ideal summons because this will search you out the Monster Reborn in Archetype, or Monster Reborn to be specific, but then it also gives you the benefit of having an additional draw if you have 3 monsters on the board in defense. Then of course you've got triple Acro, so all of the Scareclaws have the same effects that they can be special summoned from the hand to the main monster zone adjacent to a Scareclaw monster or in its column. Now Acro gives the card your Scareclaw monsters in the extra monster zone gain 300 attack for each defensive monster you control. We've then got Triple Belong, exactly the same summoning mechanic, but this one allows your Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone to do piercing battle damage. And then of course you've got the Astra, and this one lets your Scareclaw monster in the extra monster zone have additional attacks up to the number of times each battle phase the defense edition Scareclaw monsters that you control with different names. Then probably one of the best Scareclaw monsters that I really do like is Scareclaw Cash. The idea for this is the fact that this is the only one that can attack in defense. I would have loved all of the other Scareclaws to be able to attack in defense, but then it probably would have made it a little bit OP because the idea is that Tryhard searches out one of them and gets one back from the grave. So straight away you get Tryhard that could ultimately end up getting attack stat buffs and then being able to attack and do piercing battle damage, and then have your Astra and everything else, even though it's 1300, but be able to attack directly, can just finish the game off on itself. Whereas that's where Scareclaw Cash Tira comes into play, because of the fact of the matter is it can attack in defense, and then of course it does have that very nice negate effect as well. To back up your Scareclaw Cash, you are playing 2 Fenrir. With the Azamina package, you don't really need to worry about this card as much, but it's still a very good option because the ideal scenario is you special summon out Fenrir, search out your Scareclaw Cash, you've got a Scareclaw in rotation that can then get you into your Link monsters, and of course you've got Fenrir as a very powerful disruptive option and a technical free summon. Now you can include the field spell in this if you wanted to, the the Planet Rice-Off. But I decided to go with 2 of the Fenrir monsters itself. It just gives you free discard fodder and free send fodder for the Witch of the Black Forest as well as your Deception. Then the last one we're playing is the one Visa Starfrost. The fact of the matter is you get to summon your Link monster back from the graveyard if you control Visa Starfrost, use it as free Link fodder, and then you get to go into your Visa's Astrolaud, which can be another aggressive option. You do just need to remember that Tryhard puts all monsters into defense, so you're going to be using this as an aggressor, a interrupter, and then of course you can link it off and have the ability to bring it back later on if you need to, but the idea is that you've got that there. Then of course we are playing 2 Reichphobia, so you search this off of your Link 1, and then obviously when it's activated you get to add a Scareclaw monster or a Visa Starfrost from the deck to the hand, and the monsters your opponent controls lose 100 attack and defense for each defensive monster on the field, and then if 3 or more defense monsters are on the field, you get to target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. So it gives you the ability to pick it away, but you can only activate 1 per turn. And then we've got 2 Arrivals, so this is the in-archetype or Monster Reborn with additional protection. So it lets you target a Scareclaw monster or a Visa Starfrost in your graveyard and special summon it in defense. And then if a Scareclaw Link monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to banish this card instead from the graveyard. But you can only use that effect once per turn. So if you hard open up 1 copy and you search out the other off of your right card, you can activate both Reborns, but you can only activate the protection effect once per turn. And then typical 1 call by the grave. Then for the Azamina package, we do play triple Diabellstar. Again, currently waiting on my copies to turn up, which is why I'm proxying them. Apologies, but it is what it is. And the idea is that you've got your Black Star, you've got your Wanted, and then you've got your Deception, I'm only playing 2 of, and then you've got your 2 Azamina fusion spells. So if you haven't seen my branded version that uses this engine, I'll explain the engine again for everyone so that you all know how it works. But the idea is you want to go Wanted during the draw phase, search out your Diabell Star, summon down the Diabell Star, set the Deception, activate the Deception, send the Diabell Star, search out either the Hallowed Azamina or the Azamina Debitors. Now, the difference between the Debitors and the Hallowed Azamina is one's a quick play during the main phase and one is just a normal spell card. Both of them lead you into your fusion monster, which is your Omni Negate in the form of your silver. And then obviously the idea is that during your opponent's turn off of Debitors, you can actually work your way into the soul, which provides you with a form of interruption. Both of these have recyclable effects, so this one allows you to banish it from the graveyard during the main phase to then target, technically your main phase, to target an Azamina monster in your graveyard and special summon it. But you can only use one of the effects per turn, so either Fusion Summon or Revive, which is why you ideally want to use the quick play during your opponent's turn and then the Revive during your turn. And the Hallowed Azamina has the effect that it can be target an Azamina monster in your graveyard or on the field and then put it back into the deck or extra deck to add this card to the hand. So the idea is once you've used your silver, you tribute this off, you then get to bring back add the hollow back and then go again. Now, keep in mind, both of these need you to reveal a Azamina fusion monster from the extra deck, and then for every 4 levels it has, rounded down, you send 1 Sinful Spoil cards from your hand or field to the graveyard. So keep in mind that both of the Azaminas you want to summon are level 6s, so it will round down to a 4, which means you only ever really need to send 1. So the idea is you're either going to want to send multiple Wanteds, but in the form of the Deception, the idea is because it's a continuous spell card, you're going to activate this, you're going to search out the fusion spell that you need to, you're going to activate a fusion spell, send the Deception, go from there, and then Wanted can then put the Deception back to the deck and you draw 1 fresh new card. So it's a really kind of cool engine that just constantly keeps recycling itself, which is absolutely insane. And if you do end up getting multiple Wanted, absolutely fine, because you activate Wanted again, you get the Diabell Star, you banish the Diabell Star, you get Deception, and you just go round and round and round and round. And then for the hand traps, disruptors, and just general trap cards, I've decided to go with 3 Forbidden Droplet. I feel that it's the card right now that gives you that best balance for going first and second. Followed up by triple Imperm and triple Ash for our main hand traps. If you're going second, you can very easily take out the Ash Blossoms, and that's where your Molchummies or your Fluoroses would go into play. Just because you're going to go second, like dropping those cards is just going to get you into all of your extender pieces, and then all you need to do just by activating Wanted during the draw phase will start to bait out all of your opponent's interactions, because straight away you bait out an Ash Blossom, you can bait out a Imperms or a Veiler or a Mourner on the back of your Diabell Star, and then once you've done that, all you need to do is get 1 Scareclaw to the board, link it off into the Link 1, and then you're just going to work your way into a Tri-Heart. Tri-Heart puts everything into defense and then just attacks the game. And then for the trap cards, we're playing the 1 Twin Saw, the 1 Splash, and the 1 Azaroon. Again, going first, these are your ideal targets. Twin Saw is still a great card as well, but the idea is that this is why it's a built for go first more than go second. But if you know you're going to go second, these can very easily come out, and that's where your board breakers come in, or very specific hand traps, or counter cards to the current deck that you are going to be facing, as you'll know what's going to happen. So you wanted to minimize the fact that you'd have more bricks going second, but these are just these cards that is okay, alright, I haven't been able to OTK, but now I can set myself up with a counter trap that my opponent can't deal with, or a Twin Saw, which is going to pop 1, pop 2, and the Azaroon statue on top of it as well. So that's it for the entire main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. Once I get this out of the way, there we go. So for the extra deck, we'll talk about the Azaminas first. So the 2 Azaminas we play is the 1 Soul. So this one is, if it is Fusion Summoned, you get to target a card, card it on the field and then send it to the graveyard. And during the standby phase, you get to target an Azamina or a Sinful Spoils card in your graveyard and add it back to the hand. So again, you just get to recycle stuff like Deception if you haven't used the draw card. You can recycle Wanted if you wanted to. And then you can also recycle back the Azamina fusion spell. Then, of course, you've got your Sylvia. So the Sylvia is obviously the Omni Negate. So this one has the ability, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you get to tribute this card to negate the effect. And if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you get to add a Sinful Spoils trap from the deck to the hand. So you're not going to be doing that effect unless you're going to start siding in the trap cards. And then, of course, you've got the Visas Astrolaud. Now, the reason all these fusion monsters are really kind of cool and effective in a Scareclaw deck is that you do play Cross Sheep. So it's very easy to actually summon a monster to a zone that Cross Sheep points to while it already points to a fusion. And then that just gives you another more consistent ways, rather than just having to rely on the Astrolaud to bring one of your Scareclaws back to the board, and then you go full combo again with an added monster on the board to help you get into your Tri-Heart. Speaking of which, Triple Tri-Heart, this is like the insane boss monster for the entire deck. So it requires 3 effect monsters, which means it does need to be made with 3 monsters. But it must be link summoned, and all face-on monsters on the field that are changed to defense. It's unaffected by the activated effects of defense vision monsters. And then once per turn, if this card is in the extra monster zone, you get to target a level 3 Scareclaw in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, you add a Scareclaw monster from the deck to the hand. You can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Scareclaws. Now keeping in mind, that effect to recycle is not a hard once per turn. So the idea is if you're able to get those 2 Scareclaws onto the board, use those 2 Scareclaws and the Tri-Heart, link it off to a second Tri-Heart, use the effect again to revive from the graveyard, and then search out that 3rd Scareclaw monster. So what that gives you the ability for is it lets you loop round so you can make sure that this card has the attribute adaptations that you're going to want it to have. So it can have that additional attack, it can have the piercing, it can have the additional attack stats. So that's why it works really, really well. And then we've got Triple Lightheart, so you will burn through these very, very easily, very, very quickly. So it requires a Scareclaw monster or a Visa Starfrost, and then for its link zone, you can only use monsters in your main monster zone as material, which means you can't turn a Tri-Heart into it, so very important. And then on top of that as well, is if it is link zoned in the extra monster zone, you get to add a primitive planet Reichphobia from your deck to the hand. And if you control Starfrost, you get to special summon this card from the graveyard. You can only use each effect once, you can only use that effect, once per duel. And then of course we've got the Silo Hat Rabbit, SP Little Knight, IP Masquerena, Link Spider, and of course your Nightmare Phoenix. Now the Nightmare Phoenix lock on the back of your Tri-Heart is absolutely insane, because what this does is it means that co-links can't be destroyed by battle. So you've got a monster that's putting all of your opponent's monsters to defense, and then if they're able to go, okay, cool, well I'm now able to get a stronger monster onto the board, they can't break this lock to kill it. So even if they get something stronger than Tri-Heart, you go, okay, cool, whatever, try and kill it. And they try and kill it, and it's not going to die, and they'll be like, oh crap, Phoenix is still a thing. On top of that as well, when you co-link with the Phoenix, you also get a draw card, but what you need to remember is that when you make the Phoenix, you need to do that before you use the effect of Tri-Heart, because then when Tri-Heart uses its effect to special summon a Scareclaw back from the grave and search one, it locks you in a Scareclaw for the rest of the turn. So it's one thing that you need to make sure you go into your Tri-Heart, special summon down your extra Scareclaws that you're not going to need, link them off, go into Phoenix. Phoenix effect can ditch a card to pop a card, or pop a back row to be technical, draw 1 card, and then you activate the Tri-Heart to bring back a Scareclaw and then search out another Scareclaw, summon it down. So then straight away you'll have your Tri-Heart, which hopefully will have 2 additional attacks, because you're going to ideally want to have your, you're going to want to have definitely either, wherever it may be, you're definitely going to want your Astra, and then you're also definitely going to want one of either your Belong or of course your Acro. So the idea would be, is let's say, just giving you an example here. So you go to your Tri-Heart, you summon down an Acro and a Belong. You then use your Acro and Belong and go into Phoenix. You then use the effect of Tri-Heart to add back either the Belong for piercing or the Acro for additional attack stats for every defensive monster you control. Add this back by special summoning it, and then you get to search out the Astra and you special summon down the Astra. So this will then give Tri-Heart 2 more attacks, and then Astra, Tri-Heart will be up to a 3600 at the minimum. So it gets to attack twice at 3600, and then Phoenix can swing in for the final damage. You are locked into Scareclaws by that point, but if you really, really needed to, and you're like, you know what, I actually want to get the Belong into rotation instead, you can then link these off again, go into a second Tri-Heart, and then loop it all back. So it's still really kind of cool. I do love the fact of the matter is, now, it gives you, just for clarity, because I've just been thinking that I might have over-explained it, but what Astra gives you is it gives you the, can attack a number of times each battle phase up to a number of defense decisions. So if you have 2, it'll be able to attack twice. It doesn't give them additional attacks. Apologies, I got the terminology wrong in that one. It just means that it can attack up to a number of times you have defense decisions. So if you have 2, it attacks twice. If you have 3, it attacks 3 times. And that's pretty much it for the entire profile. I really do enjoy the way that Scareclaws work. Like I said, I feel that they've kind of been power crept because of Tempires. I feel like if you wanted to build a deck like this, you could just build a deck that is a lot more simpler in the form of Tempires. It allows you to play through hand traps a lot more, but this deck is a hell of a lot more fun. There's nothing better than being able to summon down a Scareclaw cache to a zone that your Tri-Heart points to, and then being able to also add an Astro. Like, let's just go with a Belong and an Astra. Like, this is insane. Because then this card gets to attack 3 times. It does piercing battle damage. And then you also get to attack with the Scareclaw cache as well in defense at 26. So I really do enjoy this deck. I think it's a really kind of fun deck to play around with. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas on your own build. I know the Deception/Azamina engine is a little bit more expensive, but you can make this on a budget if you wanted to. You can even pick up SP Little Knight on a nice little budget now, but to make it cheaper, you just swap out that engine, the Azamina engine, for the Wanted engine, and the Wanted engine pretty much does the exact same job for you, so that kind of gives you everything you need as well. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Do it to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, Happy dueling.